By the way, Americans, when was the war on Christmas? I mean, about the articles from Fox News. There used to be a time period with Bill O'Reilly, and he was constantly worrying about the war on Christmas. And you had like all the smug atheists coming around and saying, oh, there is no war on Christmas. It doesn't exist. I wish I could take this video and travel back in time and show it to Bill O'Reilly, and he would be like, this is what I'm talking about. They said I'm crazy. They're gaslighting me, but this right here, this is exactly what I've been saying. All of them are snakes, deceivers, peddlers of disinformation. The United States government should cancel them, censor their lies, censor their disinformation. They're dangerous to the public. Don't you think like that would have been the rhetoric? If you could take this video right here and show it to Fox News, huh? I know this one is from Britain, and for an American it would seem like an exaggeration, but I already seen blue states in the US just trying to remove the word Christmas and replace it with everything else. It's not a Christmas tree, it's a holiday tree. Like, the sentiment is there, right? So it's not a slippery slope anymore, it's a destination. Like, if you keep going, this is where you're going to end up. So let's look at the London Christmas market.
So we've just come down to what is described as London's biggest Christmas market. The only problem is, they've called it, if you follow me, they've called it a winter come together.
My goodness. People coming together during the winter. How multicultural.
So my challenge now is to find anywhere in this market that says the word Christmas, maybe the word Jesus, any indication that this is indeed...
I will actually have an atheistic take on this if you watch until the end of the video, because this is an interesting thing, you know, the word Jesus and the word Christmas.
A religious holiday in the UK. We've got winter warmers at the winter market. Is this a Christmas market?
It's a winter market.
A winter market? What's the difference?
Something to do with religion. They can't say Christmas, but...
So apparently the stall traders here have been told they can't say the word Christmas. Happy Christmas or Happy Holidays?
Both.
Why both? It's Christmas, isn't it?
It's Christmas, yeah.
Why would you say Happy Holidays? Which scenario?
Because not everybody celebrates Christmas.
Look at the indoctrination and the demoralization. It's like not everyone celebrates Christmas. Okay. Do you honestly think that if I, as an atheist, would go to a Jewish neighborhood and someone said Happy Hanukkah to me, I'd be like, I don't celebrate that! How dare you say... You know, like, normal people do not act this unhinged. Normal people aren't this sensitive. If someone is that sensitive, they're malicious. Like, they're having an agenda. In a multicultural society, if we genuinely were to think how that would look like in a positive way, everyone were to be like, okay, well, this is a Christmas market. This store has a banner celebrating Ramadan. They're celebrating Hanukkah over there. That's how actual multiculturalism would look like. But what they seem to be doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that left-leaning celebrations like LGBT parades, they're front and center, right? They won't say, well, not everyone celebrates. No, like everyone does celebrate or else they're a fascist, okay? When it's about Ramadan, there's no problem with organizing like various banners and various things from companies, like acknowledging it, like that's fine. But when it's about Christmas, no, you got to take a back foot, especially when what's happening in Germany. Like, what is the message that you're sending? It's like the terrorists are winning in Europe. I know that Britain is not in the European Union, but like still, right? Like, do you not have some ties, connections to the mainland? Like, do you think it's really different that there? I'm just saying the optics of it.
Yes.
Happy Holidays or Happy Christmas?
Oh, Happy Christmas. Absolutely Happy Christmas.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Christmas? You'd offend people saying that.
I know.
Happy Holidays.
Isn't it interesting? Like, you'd offend people say, how is it offensive? And if this is offensive, why isn't the Pride March offensive? Why isn't Ramadan offensive? Why isn't any other holiday? Chinese New Year's. I'm actually curious. Like, do they celebrate Chinese New Year's in Chinatown? Because I know they have one in London, right? Like, they have a little Chinatown. Do they not celebrate, like, the Lunar Festival there? Is it for everyone? Is it offensive? I wouldn't think it's offensive. I think it's pretty fucking cool. But apparently that's not the mindset they're promoting, right?
Days?
Happy Christmas.
Winter market?
Christmas market.
This is the first sign of Christmas I've seen in this market. Oh, good.
Jesus fucking Christ, this gives me communist vibes. Where you had, like, state-enforced atheism and people had to, like, subtly show that they're practicing their religion.
Man, look at that. He's in the spirit. So what have you got here? You've got mold.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the perspective of a Christian. And I'm an atheist, and I, like, take into account just because I'm an atheist doesn't mean I don't have fucking empathy. See? That's why I'm not a leftist. I actually empathize with people. There is a problem with Christmas from a Christian perspective, if you will. The commercialization of Christmas, right? Where it's not about Jesus anymore. It's about Santa Claus. It's about Coca-Cola. It's about going to the mall and shopping for presents. And I don't know about other denominations, but I do know that there were a lot of priests in the past, both from the Catholic orientation, I think like some Protestant and Orthodox as well, which were actively complaining about this, and they were saying that Christmas is supposed to be about prayer and about fasting, and this is not it. Like going out shopping, buying presents, spending cash, consumerism is not what Christmas is supposed to be. So in a way, I suppose like they would be happy that the government isn't sponsoring this, so that if you're a genuine Christian, like if you're truly Christian, you would celebrate at home with your family, like Christ is in your heart, right? Like Christ is not in the dollar that you spend or the pound that you spend in order to buy something from a Christmas market. So like that would be the traditionalist perspective. But we do not live in the traditionalist time. And my opinion is that religion is not just about prayer and about your relationship with Christ, which is also important, but it's also about community. It's about getting together. It's about coming to a place where all the people gather, and for once a year you can actually spread joy. Like, what is the purpose of giving a present? It's supposed to give joy. It's supposed to make someone happy. Now, unfortunately, it's been commercialized and most people don't find it like that because, yeah, you're receiving presents, but you also have to give. It's a hassle. Prices are high. Inflation is what it is, right? So, like, in a way, I understand where the tradition is coming from, but when you're looking at it, it's becoming more of a hassle than a tradition. However, with that said, you know, they're basically stating that, well, all the other religions get to have their own thing, but we're going to make sure that people don't call it Christmas. And there can be, like, you gotta wonder, like, why then? Like, what is the purpose? Well, why are they doing this? And one of them could literally be, you know, what happened in Germany. And what happened in Germany is not just the one event that happened this year. Like, there have been many cases where there were attacks on Christmas markets. So, like, maybe this is, you know, in the enlightened minds of our rulers, our benevolent supreme leaders, they're thinking that maybe if they change the name, they will create safety. Maybe the corporations are thinking, well, if we can change the name, we can make more money. You know, now the Muslims can shop here and the Jewish people can shop here because now it's not a religious thing. Now it's just a commercial thing. Either way, I can see why a Christian would be offended, because it's like, well, I'm paying my money for the government, and if the government would treat every single religion this way, I would understand. I'm like, okay, we're in a secular nation, and then I understand. But it feels like they're kind of singled out, even though they're the majority, right? So it's like, okay, you want our money, you want us to pay you, you want us to feed you, dear Supreme Leader, but in exchange, you don't talk with us. Like, do they even have a representative that is consulted on these matters? And finally, there's one more thing. Christmas markets are a British tradition in the sense that people were born with the concept of a Christmas market, and up until recently, they expected that it would be there every year. Like, people actually find comfort in stability and predictability. And so they noticed that the mindset of the progressive labor is very similar to the Maoist cultural revolution, where they declare war on the four worlds. And one of the four worlds is tradition. So like everything that happened before you were born is bad. Which basically tells the British public that your parents were evil, your grandparents were evil, your great-grandparents were evil too. We're the good ones. We're going to actually make it better because we're more enlightened than you dumb fucks. And so, at an inherent level, this is what people are experiencing. This is what they're feeling deep in their hearts. And this is why it pisses them off. Because you never had a conversation about it. You're just enforcing it. And it's not about the Christmas market. It's the overall theme. Like, the Britain of today is not the same that people grew up in. And a lot of people would say that it's not for the better. The changes aren't for the better. I'm actually curious if you could allow people to live in the Britain of the old, like 20 years ago, or in the Britain of the now, which would they choose? And so, when they constantly see this erosion on tradition, erosion on things that don't even bother anyone, like there is absolutely no reason to change the name either than to fulfill an ideological purpose, then yeah, like people are going to get upset. But here's my take as an atheist, right? Like this is what I saved to the end of the video. If you're a Christian and you want to know how it got to this point, if you want to know why is it the way it is in Britain, it's simply because Christians have failed to persuade the younger generation on why being a Christian is a good thing. That's it. And I don't know how they failed. And you gotta understand, persuading a person doesn't mean constantly moralizing and nagging and going after their hobbies. And it's like, no, my son, you will go to Sunday church. I don't want that. You will go to fucking Sunday church and you will worship Jesus. If you think that is how you can actually attract people, you're fucking insane. Like, no, seriously, you're mentally, that's not how you attract people. Usually, the way you attract people is by living a life of wholesomeness that makes you happy and makes you fulfilled. And then other people look at you and it's like, well, how are you this fulfilled? How are you this happy? Got Jesus in my heart. Like that would be a way to attract people. Now, I don't know what's happening in the church, like how much subversion and Marxist ideologies in the British church, because I don't know. But the reality is, people don't want to be Christians. Like, you're looking at the church attendance, they're dropping, and this is why a lot of churches in Britain are being transformed into mosques. Because no one goes there, no one attends, the church is being sold, a Muslim buys it, they're going to make it into a mosque because it already has the acoustics, it already has like the correct design. And so I remember what Richard Dawkins said, and he was like, well, I'm a Christian atheist. It's like, what does that mean? Well, like, I like the Christian aesthetic, I like the wholesomeness of it, I like the traditions, and I like some of the morality. And in his words, he says, when he thinks of Britain, he thinks of Christmas carols, he thinks of Christmas markets. He doesn't think of Britain as being dominated by Sharia, but by having like a Muslim nation. He would be sad if that's the case, right? Like that's what Richard Dawkins is saying. And the problem with Richard Dawkins is the same problem with the people that are upset that the churches are being sold. And the answer is like, look, you cannot have Christianity without the Christians. The reason churches are being sold is because no one is protesting or no one is attending. If you actually had like a time machine and you would replace every single ethnical British person in the UK with people from 100 years ago, none of this would happen. I guarantee to you there would be a fucking Christmas market. Because otherwise, no one would shop there. Like, it would just be a thing that no one cares about. And the public sector would lose money. And you would have like private initiatives, like they would put money together, they would make a private space, and they would call that the Christmas market. And now it's not a public event, right? It'd be like, okay, well, we want to rent this private space where all of our Christians are going to pull in our resources, and like, this is unacceptable, we won't let the government do this. We're going to take matters into our own hands. We're going to find a private space, and we're going to build there, and we're going to rent it, and we're going to, right? That's what would happen if you have people that genuinely believe. It's like, oh, this church doesn't have attendance. Oh, they're going to sell it and make it to a mosque. Unacceptable. We're going to find 100 people, and they're going to go with the bus, and they're going to go every single Sunday and attend that church from now on. And you're going to donate, and you're going to make sure that the church remains open. That's how they would organize if you actually had Christians that give a shit. But the reality is, you don't. So if you don't, you get the winter market. Sorry, the winter come together. And whose fault is it? And again, whether it's subversion from the church itself, like maybe the priests that are supposed to hold mass, maybe they lost their calling. Maybe they didn't want to have the calling. Like maybe they were paid in order to lead people astray. I don't fucking know. Like priests, they're prone to human sin. During the Soviet Union, the Iron Curtain, here in my country, many priests were paid to become collaborators. They were incentivized to rat on the people that were giving the sacred act of confession. So, like, it has been heard throughout time. Yeah, just like a cop can be corrupt, so too can a priest. But maybe the people didn't know how to explain Christianity. Yeah, like constantly attacking people's hobbies, constantly moralizing and being a nag doesn't attract people to your religion. And so in Britain, and many Muslim leaders pointed this out, and I agree with them, they said that there's two religions right now that are dominant. One is the atheistic woke religion, like the Americans like to call it, right? With the rainbow flags and the systemic systems of racismus and all of the package that comes with it. And it's a chaotic religion. It's one that's constantly fluctuating. It's one that's constantly, telling you what to think. And that But there are people that believe in that, right? Like, they defend that. And the other religion is Islam. And so, a lot of people that do not fit with the woke and do not like the aesthetics of it, because like, one of the main reasons that people join a religion is the ideology, right? Like what the religion teaches, what it promises. The aesthetics of it, like when you see the grand cathedrals or beautiful mosques in Ankara, like that matters. That's why they build them that way, in order to attract the faithful. And the community aspect, like all these three things are what makes a religion great. And so when you look at the woke, right, like what do they have? Well, the aesthetics seem to be the ones from the corporations, right? Like that's what neoliberalism promises, like poop the wealth and build large corporations. But the aesthetics of modern corporations, they're kind of brutal, right? Like they don't really inspire wholesomeness. The community aspect. My God, I mean, anyone that hangs around woke people, the level of drama that it causes and the level of chaos that exists. And that is the morality, right? Like, there is no purpose, like, especially if you're a white man. Apparently, Kamala Harris was struggling with this demographic. It's like, what does woke promises you? Well, it tells you that your ancestors were bad people, they were evil. You yourself is evil, and you need to dedicate your entire life in order to conduct reparations. And after you die, that's it. Like, there is no afterlife. And so many men will be like, okay, but if I go to Islam, I mean, they have beautiful mosques, they have strong sense of community, they stick out for you, there's less drama, they have moral values that are fixed, they don't change from year to year. And so, yeah, like I read in the papers that a lot of young men even joined, they managed to find love. They met a woman in the community. It's like, oh, you're single? Yeah. Well, I happen to know someone. And they would go out to a blind date. They would get together. They would get married. Is that something that's happening with Christians in the UK? Like, do you have the same strong sense of community? Do you have, like, maybe in small towns, right? But in large cities, I mean, again, without Christians, you can't have Christianity. It's absurd. Some people are fine with it, by the way. Like, not all people are disappointed. Like, there are woke people that are happy being woke. There are atheists that are happy with the way things are. Like, you need to understand, there's people with a different moral compass. And if you want to reach them, you can't reach them by nagging, as I keep mentioning, or by moralizing to them, by shaming them. Like, you can't shame someone that looks down at you. Like, if they're looking down at you and they're thinking that you're insignificant, you can shame them all day long. They don't give a fuck. And so, again, the thing that you can do is to create strong communities and lead by example. That's my take on it. Anyway, let me know what you think. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.